Hi everyone, Wismeril here. So I'm bringing you an update on the speed leveling build guides that I've been publishing over the last days because I revisited the Paragon tables and I optimized it even further. So today I'm going to share with you the latest and greatest changes I applied for this speed leveling to be super efficient from level 1 to level 100. Okay, so what are we looking at? This is your World Tier 3, World Tier 4 progression when you're beyond level 50, obviously. The big change is that I realized that I'm going to reset some keys like Sirocco Caverns over and over during 10 to 15 levels. So I'm going to miss out a lot on glyph experience. But that's not really an issue because you replace something for something better. So like when you loot a GG godlike key such as Sirocco's Cavern with good affixes, and this key is like plus 15 levels between you and the monsters there, you want to reset over and over this dungeon for 14 to 15 levels until you are same level than the monsters there. Then that's the time you're going to salvage all the keys you found during those runs, salvage them and craft a plus 15 levels key, which might be crappy. Run it until you find once again a plus 15 level Sirocco's Cavern or the second or third best keys in the tier list and reset it over and over. Okay, so we're going to, I think approximately doing this, we'll be able to level 3 glyphs all the way to 21 and maybe a fourth one to 15 or maybe in the 15 to 21 range, and the other glyphs will be level 1. Therefore, we want to manage our power spikes. This new Paragon leveling is all about damage multipliers and having super early power spike in order to keep blasting those keys in a plus 15 level fashion. Alright, so how do we start? Well, once you reach level 50, the first 25, I believe, Paragon points are free, right? It's your renown, so you can go all the way here. Let me rotate this once more. Yeah, that's the thing. So you should reach here exactly with all the free Paragon points from the renown. Now, how are you going to proceed? Actually, you're going to do 1, 2. Oops. This is where you will reach with all the free Paragon points. Now you're gonna head this way, here, over here. And remember, you're level 50 plus, so you're leveling, you're going to loot your first glyphs, and bang, you loot the exploit glyph. So you want to go back here, change this wisdom default to exploit, which is going to be level 1. Now you're going to go backwards 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're going to use those 5 points to get the damage multiplier on this level 1 glyph. How do you do that? You put 1, 2, then 1 here, so that's 4. You move this one here, and that's 5. And you move this one here. There we go. So that's how you spend those 5 points backwards, and ta-da! Now you have a 10 multiplier of 10% very early in the leveling. Okay, you're maybe level 52 or something like that. It's like having another legendary item on your gear with a 10% damage multiplier. That's huge. That's a big power spike. Now let's continue. So you're leveling again, doing those dungeon keys, and bang, you loot the which one is it? Elementalist glyph. So you're going to put it here, Elementalist. That's a level 1 key. And this key requires you to have 40 intelligent points. So same, you go backwards, I think that's 6, 7 or 8 points, I'm not too sure. You'll go over here, you'll keep this one. You'll go over here, and that's exactly 40 intelligence. and now you have a 15% multiplier. Another power spike. Now how do you ramp up this one? Where you're running cold damage with ice shards, you're having the fire enchantment to burn targets, so you're doing cold and fire by default, and your lightning damage will come from teleports. So for instance, you're fighting a boss, teleport to the boss for the 5% on lightning, and cold and fire are applied by default. So that's a 15% multiplier. Another one, 10, 15, it's all about the power spikes. Okay, so we're moving on, continuing to farm our keys. The next one is Elemental Summoner, this one. And we're going over here, there, and now here we're going to get maximum mana. Paired with the maximum mana rolls on your helm and rings, this is the time where you get those points here that you want to switch your amulet from the control aspect to the elementalist aspect, which reads, any spell you cast above 100 mana will grant 30%, because it's the minimum value, critical strike chance. This is big, 30% plus the 5% base. You're going to have a very high uptime on 35% critical strike chance. And that's huge. Why are we doing that? Because we don't want to rely too much on crowd control to deal our damage. We prefer critical strike chance hits, because on the boss, on the butcher, or on structures, you can crit them, you can put them ablaze, but in order to freeze them or to apply any CC, you need to stagger them first, which is very inconvenient. We want to avoid that as much as possible. That's why we're getting that. Second, now that we're getting that and we have a decent critical strike chance, we are going to grab this new Icefall node here. The new one will read, when you deal cold damage to a vulnerable enemy, if this damage crits, it will benefit from a times 15% multiplier. And if the target is frozen, that's a 30% multiplier. Once again, this is huge. That's another 15% multiplier, and you will freeze the elites quite fast with this build, so you will benefit from the 30% multiplier on frozen. Even though we're trying to stay away from that, while on the elites, on your dungeon runs, you're going to benefit from the 30%. This is huge, so that's why we're going over here, and we're going to grab this node over there. Another power spike. Times 10%, times 15, times 15, sometimes 30. It's all about the power spikes. Next, we're going this way, and we're going to the Enchantment Master table. We're gonna go over here, over there, whoops, over there, and then the next glyph that you want to put in here, you should have looted that by the time you arrive here, is the Unleash, that one, which will be level 1. And here it's gonna give you a 6.7 multiplier after you spend 50 mana, so you'll get that. The uptime is very big, and you get some mana regeneration, which is nice with what we're doing. Remember, we want to cast spells above 100 mana to crit and to have this sweet multiplier on critical strike hits. So that's why we're getting that here. Power spikes. So we need intelligence to get it. So I think the correct path is over there, and that should be 40. Nope. What did I do? I miss it. Oh, this one. So this should be, yeah, that's 40. So with this path, you're gonna have a 6.7 multiplier, another one, and some sweet mana regen. Now we're going over here. And next we're going to the Burning Instinct table. That will be our 5th table, and we want to rotate it like that. There we go. Next we'll go over here, there, here, there, and the next glyph we want to put here will be the Destruction glyph. Level 1, you just looted that recently, it's not leveled up. So you need 25 dexterity and you're gonna get it this way. And that's a 12% multiplier, another one. By doing this, once again, what we're doing, we're trying to keep a plus 15 levels between the monsters we're fighting and us. Plus 10 will give us the maximum XP income, a 15% multiplier on the experience from your world tier difficulty. So that's 100% in world tier 3 and 200% in world tier 4, multiplied by 1.15 because of this level gap. And also the experience per monster killed on monster having a higher level than you is very big also. So all in all, we are trying to get to level 100 as fast as we can. And this is how you're going to achieve that. All right, let's continue over here. And next, we're gonna want the Frigid Fate. This new legendary node here is getting changed. In Season 2, it now reads, dealing damage to a vulnerable target will get you a multiplier that scales with your cold damage up to times 30%. And when you're going to reach that stage here, now you should get a value between 12 to 15% as a new multiplier, because your non-physical damage, I mean your cold damage, is gonna be between 120 to 150%. So that's because you got some non-physical damage nodes here and there and here, and on your rings you want cold damage, and on your chest armor you want cold damage, because those rolls on your gear will multiply the non-physical damage in your Paragon, and that's how you're going to reach 120 to 150 at that stage of the game. Therefore, another 12 to 15% multiplier. And this, we're going to scale that node all the way to 30 and beyond. Well, it caps out at 30% multiplier, but we're going to get our cold damage way beyond 300. So this is a double dip, because your cold damage goes in the additive bucket, and your cold damage scales a multiplier. So it double dips, so it's very sweet. All right, where are we going next? We're going back to our third Paragon board, and we'll be heading this way over here. Now, this glyph here is the first one you're going to level to 15, Flame Feeder, so that by the time you reach over here, it's already level 15. So you can benefit from this multiplier straight away. If its level is less than 15, the range will be less and you cannot complete the requirement of 25 dexterity. But since that's the first glyph that you leveled to 15, bang, you have it there. Another 10% external multiplier, which is going to scale our damage massively. Now we're going this way over here, and we're going to get our last board, the 7th one, which is gonna be Searing Heat. Where are you? Over there. We're going to rotate you once, and from here we're going to get our last damage multiplier on a glyph, a level 1 glyph. So that's pretty cool. We're going over here, and we're going over there, and we're going to want the Tactician level 1 glyph. We just looted it, and once we get all the way here, what do we get? A 10% external multiplier, another one. For 4 seconds after casting a defensive skill, i.e. Teleport, Flame Shield, and Ice Armor that we are running in this build. The uptime on this is pretty sweet, pretty nice. It's not up all the time, but it's up like 90% of the time when you are in combat. So what do we get here? You are level, let me check, 38 divided by 4. You are level 90 and a half. When you reach that stage, okay? Level 90, and what did you get on the way to level 90? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 multipliers. It's like having 8 additional gear items, all having those multipliers. The power spike is huge, okay? So, at this stage, what do we want to do? Now, let's talk about the order in which you're going to level the glyphs. You're going to level Flame Feeder to 15 first. The second glyph you're going to level to 15 is Destruction. By the way, it's getting changed. It's not, when it's 21, it's not 9.9% additive damage anymore, it's 18.8. It's gonna be doubled in Season 2. So that's why that's the second one you want to level to 15. It's gonna massively increase your additive damage bucket. Instead of 45, you're gonna get 90.2% additive damage by leveling up to 15. Once it's 15, the range changes, so you're going to save 2 points over there and still benefit from your multiplier. With those 2 points in the bank, you're going to spend those, one here, one here. And the third glyph you're going to level to 15 is this one, Unleash. It doesn't scale very well, but once it reaches level 15, you're going to get plus 20 intelligence with those 2 nodes over there. So it will allow you to get 1, 2, 3, 4 points back in order to stick to the 40 intelligence and get 4 points back. All right. Doesn't scale very well. You will not level this one beyond 15 unless that's the last glyph that you want to level up. Okay. Next glyph you're going to level up to 15 will be the Exploit. This one is also getting changed in Season 2. It's getting doubled. So at max level, instead of 21.4, it's going to be 42.8 additive damage. Okay. But now we're only leveling up this one to 15. So that's 33.2% additive damage. So in the order of importance, this one's going to give nearly like 70% plus, 43, and 33. So that's the additive damage you're getting from leveling up, leveling your glyphs. Okay. Now, the next glyph you're going to level to 21 from that setup will be Destruction, all the way to 21, then Flame Feeder, all the way to 21, then Exploit, all the way to 21, and I believe that at that stage you will be level 100. If not, level up this one, Unleash, a little bit further, and you're gonna reach level 100. Alright, so that's for the glyphs. Now, how about the remaining points? Because now we saved a little bit of points. So we were level 90 point something, and we get a few extra points to spend. We're going to spend it in the rare nodes that are close to our way, like this one, 1, 2. That's a damaging one, and once we get there, we get 1, 2 over here, and we remove 1, 2 over there. Sweet. Next, we're going to get another damaging one, 1, 2, 3 over here. Then we're going to get this defensive one over there, that's defensive one over here, and this defensive one over there. Right. Now that this is done, where are we going next? We're going to further scale the damage multiplier of this legendary node. So we're going to want non-physical damage. And we're going to get them, let me double check the path. That would be over here. We're getting here first, 1, 2. Then we're going here, 1, 2. Then we're going to complete this. And then we're going to complete those. We're not getting the maximum life over here. At this stage, I think if you have rolls of cold damage on your chest armor and rings, you should cap out this multiplier at 30%. Okay? But anyway, the next points will still be some non-physical damage. We're gonna go over here and we're going to spend those. Right. So okay, so that's where we get them. There are some utility nodes, those 4. You can place them whenever you want. I suggest you get those lucky hit chance utility nodes once you cap out your multiplier at 30. Then the next point, put them here, because this will help on the mana management front and also on the damage, because Avalanche deals more damage when it triggers. It has a 40% multiplier. I'm left with 1 point, so I missed something somewhere. I'm sorry. Anyway, the link I'm going to paste, like in the description of the video, is gonna have the exact points you want to spend your point in. I think it's yes, I remember, U over here. Tac, that's the last one that you're going to get. Yeah, maybe that can be your last one, or you can get this one before this cluster here and before that cluster there. So that's how you're going to spend all your points on the way to level 100 in order to manage your power spikes all along the way and benefit from them as much as possible. This is the best setup by far you can have to rush to level 100. That's the one I'm going to run, okay? And when I reset those keys, okay, let's say you get your GG Sirocco Cavern plus 15 level key and you run it for 15 levels, there's a downtime of 2 minutes 30 seconds, right? Because like you complete 90% of the dungeon, you don't do the boss, you TP out and you wait for 2 minutes and a half for the dungeon to reset before you do it again and again for those 15 levels. What do you do during those 2 minutes and a half? During those 2 minutes and a half downtime, you're going to complete Vampiric Tides. What's it called again? Blood Tides, Blood Harvest Tide, or Blood Harvest, I believe. Okay, so I will only engage on the new quest line and the new vampiric powers during those 2 minutes and a half downtime that I have when the dungeon, the GG dungeons reset. Okay, so you're going to go to those blood harvest area, free prisoners, destroy those blood buildings, kill vampires all over the place, kill those Sorc, rogues, barbarian, vampires, and harvest some of their materials, the materials drop. Anyway, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to do a little bit of the quest line up to the point where you can collect those blood harvest, potent blood things. And this will allow you to complete your journey on some external leveling that will give you some things related to the new powers, right? So that's when we are doing those. Now, which powers are we looking for to complement our speed leveling build? The first one I would be happy to get, because I think it's random. You're going to craft powers and you're going to get a random one, or you're going to get some from the, not the battle pass, but like the new UI that's related to those. And the one you would like to get first, like the best one you could get, is the attack speed increase on a lucky hit. Where are you? There, Ravenous. This one is huge, really. Like by default on max value, it's 40% attack speed. If you have a 20% movement speed roll on your boots and 25% movement speed roll on your amulet, this is a 60% boost to your attack speed. This is huge. So this one is S tier for me. The second one is the multiplier to vulnerable. This one, 16% multiplier. That's the number one I would get. Prey on the weak. So, and the last one, which is God tier, is this one, Undying. With the Ice Shard build, you're casting skills a lot and very fast. And the only thing you don't have is recovery. Well, you do have sustain and recovery in the sense of barriers, because you're a sorcerer, right? But there's only one node that you're using sometimes on fire builds that makes you regenerate health, but that's about it. So this one on my list is quite high. It's like S minus S tier, okay? You want to get first the two ones and then this one. Those are the ones you want to get in your leveling build. They are super nice. For the remaining two, Since it's RNG, I will give you a few that you can consider. A plus tier would be this one over here. Like, because you're using a basic skill a lot between your blizzards and your ice shards, so you could quickly ramp up this to 20% attack speed, which is very nice. And when you ramp it all the way, you get 15% movement speed, which is great because remember, we're speed leveling all the way to 100. So this one's on my list as the fourth one. By the way, why is it important that we get all this attack speed, 20% here and 40 to 60% there? Because most of the time during our leveling, we're looking to use a two-handed staff, which has attack speed of 1 per second. Versus main hand plus offhand, which is 1.2 attacks per second. So this increases, like, scales our damage very well. That's why we're interested to get that. And as we make our way to ancestral items to world tier 4, we're going to have less and less mana problems because of the avalanche, of the mana cost reduction, of all those things we're doing with max mana and stuff where we're casting our spells between 100 and 150 mana that we have in our pool. So we won't gonna have much of mana issues when we are in world tier 4. So therefore, scaling our damage with attack speed is very interesting, okay? So power number 4, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, would be this one. And power number 5 would be this one, because we are a lucky hit build, and this one's pretty cool. You have a chance on lucky hits to inflict Vampiric curse on enemies, and when you kill 8 enemies that had the Vampiric curse, you're going to store those 8 souls. And when you use a defensive skill, teleport, ice armor, or flame shield in our build, you're going to unleash those 4 souls, and those souls are going to do 200% increased damage. So this one looks pretty cool to include as our last power in this leveling build. Now, since getting those powers is random, let me give you the other ones I have on my list. In the B tier powers, we have, where are you? The one that reduces our cooldown when we use 5, this one, Hectic. When we use 5 basic skills, we reduce one of our active cooldowns by 2 seconds. That's nice to have, that's a B tier. Resilience, this one, damage reduction when we are missing health. It's nice to have power. Infection could be higher on my list. It's just that I didn't test it, so I'm not sure about the damage. Every time you inflict damage, direct damage, you inflict pox, and when you inflict pox 8 times, you deal 70% poison damage. Ice Shards deals in one cast 5 times damage, because it casts 5 ice shards, dealing damage each of them. So 2 casts of ice shards is 10 pox. So in 2 casts, you're already inflicting 70% poison damage. So the uptime on the damage pop is really nice on this build. Now, it's poison damage, so we are scaling it with the non-physical damage, which is really nice. But it's not cold damage, so we're not scaling it all the way, and it's not going to benefit from all the multipliers. It's going to benefit from nearly all the multipliers, except maybe 1 or 2 that are related to cold damage. So this could be higher on the list. Maybe you want this more than you want the Accursed Touch, right? But I didn't get to test it, so I'm not sure. This one could have very big potential in our leveling build. Next, we have a Sanguine Brace. Pardon my French. Where are you? The one that's related to 45. This one, maybe it's a troll one, but I read gain 8% critical strike chance, which goes very well in what we're doing. 45 on a sorcerer sounds trolling, but you know, getting crit chance, I could take that. Next one is this one. On the very low uptime, you could get guaranteed critical strikes on enemies, so I'll take that, but that's not best. We're talking C tier vampiric powers. And the last one would be, no, that's the last one. So that's it for all the powers I would consider to include in our speed leveling build. Now, let's round up this video with the changes I made to the affixes on gear that we are going to want in World Tier 3 and World Tier 4. Because you're really, realistically, you're going to start looking or start getting nice affixes in mid World Tier 3 and very good ones in World Tier 4. So what do we want? What do we prioritize? We want max mana rolls on our helm and on our 2 rings. This is very important. Next, we want cold damage on our rings and on our chest armor. Those rolls here are multiplicative with our non-physical damage from our Paragon. Okay, look, I think that's the lowest, no, it's not the lowest value. Let's put the lowest value, 7.5. Our damage with cold is 334. If we just add 5% to this roll, look what's going to happen to our damage with cold. Goes from 334 to 351. So that's not additive. That's not plus 5%. That's plus 5% to a multiplier on our non-physical damage that we are maximizing in our Paragon board with what I've shown you in the video. And this is how we are going to scale. Where are you? This multiplier here all the way to 30 very fast. And that's a double dip once again because cold damage goes in our additive bucket and also scales a multiplier. So it's double dipping. So that's why, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, this setup is the best setup. Well, everyone on YouTube is gonna claim that they have the best build, the best blah, blah, but you know, like I do math. I have a degree. And anyway, so this, my friends, is how you're going to do an insane amount of damage, and you're going to make sure that your damage doesn't fall off between level 80 to 100, which is why I experienced last season, season 1, when I used a similar ice shards build to level up all the way to 100. Once you reach level 80, the damage falls off. Like I was getting carried by necromancers in my party at this stage. This time around, I'm gonna speed level solo self-found all the way to 100, and I'm going to use this strategy, and I strongly believe that my damage is not going to fall off from level 80 to 100. I think, I might be wrong, but I think that I might be able to keep that plus 15 levels gap between monsters and myself all the way to level 100, which means when I will hit level 100, monsters I will have been facing at that time would be level 114. Okay, right. So maximum mana, cold damage is what you're looking for. Crit chance is nice to get, and lucky hit chance on your rings, as well as here. You want attack speed because remember we are running staff, two-handed weapon. It hits slow, so we're happy to get attack speed first on our gloves, ranks of ice shards second, crit chance third, and lucky hit chance fourth, right? So that's what we're getting over here and there. We want lucky hit chance while we have a barrier on the helm as the second thing we are looking for. For chest armor, cold damage first, and then any combination of damage mitigation, like damage reduction from distant, close, burning, damage reduction period, armor, percentage armor, or max health. That's what we're looking for. Same over here, get a combination of the best damage mitigation affixes you can get. On boots, we want movement speed, because we're obviously rushing to level 100, and second, we want mana cost reduction. On the amulets, we want mana cost reduction first, because this has the highest values among amulets, boots, and offhand. The highest value is on the amulets, so we want that first. Second, we want ranks to the Devouring Blaze. Remember, we're going to be critting a lot with this setup, so scaling this multiplier is nice. Next, we want movement speed, for the reason mentioned beforehand. And finally, we want lucky hit chance while we have a barrier. Scaling, like if we get rolls everywhere on lucky hit chance, and later on in the leveling we'll get this one, we'll move those 3 points over there, we can double our lucky hit proc rate. So on ice shards, it will go from 16 to around 33% per shard. We fire 5 of those. If we double that, we're gonna have one shard out of 3 that's gonna be a lucky hit, and we fire 5. So we have at least 1 on average, guaranteed 1, which means we're gonna have a very decent uptime on avalanche, because on a lucky hit with an ice shard, there's 1 out of 5 that will trigger avalanche, and then it's gonna help a lot on the mana, so we are going to crit a lot. And this is also a 40% external multiplier when this triggers. So that's, you know, synergies. Anyway, that's for the lucky hit chance. And for the two-handed staff, get the one that has the highest DPS and deal with the affixes you get, because you're first interested in the DPS value. And if you're lucky and you have, like, you can choose between a few of those that have like a similar damage range, then of course pick the ones that have the best affixes, damaging affixes. Those will be additive. So that's what we want to do in our World Tier 3 to World Tier 4 transition. World Tier 4, it's more or less the same, except we get higher affixes because our gear will be ancestral. So that's the same everywhere. I don't think there's any difference. The only difference is World Tier 3 to World Tier 4, you're re-imprinting over and over the affixes, sorry, the legendary aspects that you've been pre-farming level 1 to level 15, so you're re-imprinting them over and over. This one for 20% damage reduction, that one 20% damage reduction, the Ice Shards one, the Disobedience one, the Elementalist one for crit chance, the Efficiency and Prodigy for mana management, so that we always stay in the plus 100 mana department when we fire skills, right? We fire cold skills, huh? And then this one for 42% damage multiplier on vulnerable when we have a barrier, which we do 90% of the time. So another sweet 40% multiplier, breakpoints, right? Remember. The only one on the boots, we didn't pre-farm anything because we are waiting to naturally loot this one. A 40% multiplier on bosses, the butcher, and structures like those blood structures in Vampiric tides. Those are considered structures that are unstoppable, that you cannot crowd control. That's why in this build, we don't want to rely on crowd control. We prefer to do critical strike damage because we'll have faster time killing bosses, butchers, and structures. I made the mistake during my Season 1 speed leveling run to do an Ice Shard build that would rely on crowd control, and this is a lot slower than doing one that is relying on critical strike chance. You get baited by this 25% multiplier to frozen enemies, so disregard that. Well, anyway, you're going to freeze elites very fast by running Blizzard, Frostbolt enchantments. You're going to freeze those very fast, but killing the boss fast is slow if you rely on crowd control. Rely on crits, it's a lot better. You can set ablaze bosses and you can crit them and you can put them vulnerable. So that's why we're going for that direction. That's the most optimized way to proceed. Now back to our World Tier 4 conversation. World Tier 4, you will have been looting a lot of legendaries. Hopefully you will get your hands on this one, the Frozen Memories. Avalanche will be applied to one additional cast, which is going to help a lot on the mana management front, and we're going to benefit a lot more often from this 40% damage multiplier. So that's one. This one is clutch. We do want to get it. We don't want to get it on a ring and have it all the time on a ring. Next one I would consider then would be increasing your attack speed. You're going to crit most of the time, so increasing your attack speed to scale your damage further. This one's very nice, but you need to loot it, the accelerating power. The next one you're going to want is the conceited, pardon my French, power. Another multiplier of 25%. At this stage, you don't need the mana power on your ring, you prefer another multiplier. So that's why we get that over here, if you can loot it. Because having very high lucky hit chance on this this is going to go from 40% proc chance to 80%, a little bit more actually, because we're doubling the proc rate. And this goes from 16 to a little bit more than 33. So we're going to rely less and less on those mana legendary powers. Moreover, the mana cost reduction here, there, and over here is going to scale a lot better with those ancestral quality gear, right? So mana is not going to be an issue in World Tier 4. So that's why we have this setup. For the rest, it's the same. We're going to want a wand because this has a lucky hit chance prefix. We're moving away from the two-handed stuff because we want to include more. We're going to diversify our legendary powers, and therefore we want to include this. We're going to have faster attack speed, 1.20 versus the 1.0 of a two-handed staff. This is, once again, the most optimized way you can run this setup. For the rest, we're still relying on the ones that you're going to imprint. Once you're good with the mana management, you don't need to hit those frostbolts as often. So you want to remove the power here, the might power, and change it to hopefully looted ever-living legendary power. That's going to do more or less the same. It's just that you need to attack enemies to apply a 20% to 25% debuff on the damage they deal to you. That's, once again, friends, the most optimal way to run your sorcerer from level 1 barebone character all the way to level 100, a killing machine, a true ice sorcerer. That's what I'm going to run tonight, and hopefully I'll be able to reach this level 100 in 15 to 20 to 30 hours. I'm not sure, but I think it's gonna be fast. If you guys are going to use my build and you reach level 100 quite fast, please let me know in the comment sections. I'll be very proud of you, and I'll be very proud of me for putting up something that is, very good, and hopefully you can tackle the top 50 spots of a level 100 sorcerer, right? Groups have an advantage. They always have. They always have been. They will always have, right? But I think you, as a solo self-found character, can beat unorganized groups, and of course can beat a lot of other solo self-found players. So until we get a real solo self-found, rankings, because there's a website, Diablo 4 Armory something, that will list every character that reached level 100 first during season 2. So that's the unofficial leaderboard that we are using. I will share it in a separate video. This is where I'm going to track where I finish. I hope I will be in the top 50. Time will tell. Guys, this was Wismeril signing off. Have a blast with season 2, and if you're racing, come on, grab those top 50 spots. I don't care if you beat me. Tell me, okay, I used your build and I beat you. You're, 65, and I'm 42, so I beat you. I'll be proud of you. Come on, man. I'm not racing for, being the first one, blah, blah, blah. I'm just racing because this is fun. An ARPG, a grindy ARPG, when you're a theory crafter, it's a blast to do those things I'm doing. And I like to share things. So I'm not one of those racers that will keep everything secret. Here it is, full information. Blaze your way to level 100. I'll see you guys in the next videos, because once I reach level 100, the first 2 builds that I'm going to try and publish will be the Duriel boss killer, and Lilith for that matter, and a solo target, very high damage build that's going to take down, farm, we can say at that stage, Uber Duriel and kill Uber Lilith. That's what I'm going to use. It's going to use Chain Lightning. Stay tuned. And the second build I'm going to try perfect and upload is going to be a Conjuration Madness build, because there is something really strong lying out there, and I'm going to share that very soon. Stay safe, have a blast, and I'll see you in the next videos.